My name is Geoffrey Zatkin. I am the creative director of Experiment 7, which is a new virtual reality studio that started up a little bit over a year ago. Experiment 7's first title is called Magic Table Chess, and it is a virtual reality chess game. And just kind of the pitch around what we're doing is, we're making a series of really nice environments that you and your friends can come together in from anywhere in the world and hang out and play games on tables together. And our first game is Magic Table Chess. So it's a full game of chess. You can sit there, you can pick an avatar, get your buddy's avatar or play against the AI and play one of the most popular and oldest games in the world, and we think we have a pretty good experience for it. So we're launching on the Oculus Rift and the Samsung Gear, and you can play Rift to Rift, Gear to Gear, or Gear to Rift. And over time we'll be expanding out to other VR platforms as well. For the chess part of the game, you can go and you can pick, we have a variety of classic chess sets, a variety of classic chess boards. We're launching with, we have currently 2 different environments and views out the window. We'll have a 3rd one coming in for free soon. We have, I believe, 10 different avatars that we're launching with that you can pick between. We have a whole bunch of different art sets for the wall that you can pick between for decorations. And all of these we're just going to be adding more of over time because we want to have kind of a rich ecosystem of nice places to come and hang out. The Magic Table is actually the name of our platform, so we're going to have Magic Table Chess, and we have actually, I think, 5 additional titles that are either in development or slated for development. Just kind of as we get funds, we get enough to spin up more people on the team to keep adding to them. And long term, we want to be the place that you can come and gather a couple people and say, hey, cool, what do we want to play tonight? And pick your game off, throw it down on the board, and off the Magic Table, that game springs to life, and you can hang out and play and have board game night with your friends. All those friends you can never get back in the same place again, your college buddies, your high school buddies, or your wife's in Tokyo and you're in New York and your cousin's in Los Angeles, and you're like, hey, let's get together and play. We want to give you that place to do it. And that's one of the reasons we're looking for kind of go broad on platform is, maybe you travel with a Gear, but you have a Rift back at your house. The person who's at home can use that, the person traveling with the Gear can use that, and you can still all get together. I've been in the game industry 21 years. In my first decade, I was an MMO designer. I was one of the original designers on EverQuest. I was one of the 23 members on the team. And I spent a decade working on games that tried to get people coming together and socializing while they played. And I'm a big believer in that. And in a lot of cases too, the difference, VR is immersive. And to me, that's the killer app of VR. And there's different things. A lot of people like the skydiving and the shooting. But for me, I'm going to grab a prop here. I can talk to you on Skype. I'm looking at you on a screen while I'm talking to you. If I'm talking to you in VR, there is no window between what I'm seeing you. It actually feels like I'm sitting in the room with you talking. And your brain tricks you into thinking that. That's part of what VR does. And because of that, as you look at what's a good use of VR, if VR tricks your brain into thinking you're actually sitting there with other people, and we can give you a really nice place to hang out with other people that you can talk with and be social while you do something, that's like sitting around with your buddies around a coffee table playing, Catan or chess or backgammon or D&D. This is how we play. We sit in nice places, hopefully, or we sit in places with our buddies and chat and hang out. So that's really that's what I think is the killer app for us. Part of VR is doing this. Being social with your friends. Oculus Touch is high on our list of things to integrate, and I think it'll come in somewhere in the next couple builds. So we've already laid in the groundwork for getting that in. It's just, we have a list of awesome things to implement, and that is really high up there, but wasn't the exact, because, there were certain things like we wanted to get, we launched with single player, and we just finished adding multiplayer. Given the choice between being able to play against you remotely or use touch, I'd rather play against you remotely. But doing that meant, okay, we needed to get our avatars in, we needed to get our network code in, we needed to get the invite between, the Gear and the Rift working. There's a whole bunch of stuff that just saying multiplayer is actually a fairly large engineering task. And, making sure that works well. Getting the friend invites, all of that. And some of it's handled by the system, some of it we're having to do ourselves. But, each of these things, when we do it, we want to make sure we do a good implementation because we want this to be the game you're like, yeah, this is the one I can show my friends. This is the cool thing. So yes, touch will be coming in. It is super high on our list. Because yeah, I want to be, it's funny actually though, the gaze select to me is almost like, so we use a gaze selection paradigm. You look at something, you click the clicker, and it picks it up. And it's really natural, and it is almost like on an iPhone or iPad or Android, the kind of swipe paradigm. To me, gaze select is the swipe paradigm of VR. That doesn't mean picking up as well is not also a good paradigm, but that's actually slower. Moving your hand is slower than moving your eyeballs. That being said, some people like each, and I want to make sure that we have a rich offering. If you want gaze select, we'll have it. If you want pick up and put down, we'll have it. I've been playing Dungeons, so I'm 43 years old. I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons since the boxed basic set that came out, like 35, who knows, a really long time ago. I've played every edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Dimitri Detserides, my co-founder, has played pretty much the same thing. He's actually currently running 2 campaigns, a 5th edition campaign and a 1st edition campaign. And Corey Seifert, who is one of our 2 first employees, our head of production, has been friends with John over at WotC, the guy who handles their digital licensing. And when we were already working on chess, Corey was like, hey, I heard the Dungeons & Dragons guys are going to be in town for this, and we started talking about it. We're like, man, we grew up playing Archon and Battle Chess and reading about Harry Potter wizarding chess, and the Star Wars scene on the Millennium Falcon, where Chewbacca's playing the VR, the little hologram AR thing against C-3PO and against R2-D2, and C-3PO's chatting about it. Those were formative childhood memories for a lot. Animated chess is something that's just part of pop culture. It's been in a whole bunch of different things. And we were like, wouldn't it be cool to take the back end of chess we have, go out and get the chess license, the D&D license, and turn those all into, beholders and mind flayers and dragons and drow, and then, staff up our team, go do all the animations and the fighting and the rigging and the visual effects, everything that it would take to do that. And so we put together a pitch deck, and we went over to GDC when the WotC Wizards of the Coast crew was there, and we pitched them. We said, we want to do this. And it took us a really long time to get the contract, but we got the contract. So we've teamed up with Wizards of the Coast to do that, and actually a couple of titles that are unannounced yet, but to bring that into VR and do cool versions of that. So that's the long answer to that animated D&D fighting, chess with little magic figures on the table, and they look awesome. We are in the middle of integrating all of our art assets for it. So in a couple of weeks it'll look good, and in a couple of weeks after that it'll be ready to go. So soon. Some of the neat things were, as we were doing our character design, one of the things we had our artists do was, for each chess piece, we took a picture of the chess piece and put it up there as they were doing the concept art. So we're launching with 2 full chess sets of creatures. So the 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 bishops, 2 knights, a king and a queen. And so 1 full set, 2 full sets. So we have 2 full sets we're launching with. So the red set, which is kind of our evil creature set, if you look at a bishop, kind of the conical or cone head gets narrow and then flares back out, we're using a mind flayer for that. Kind of the conical mind flayer head, they almost always wear robes, so it goes down, flares out. So we're trying in a lot of cases to capture the silhouette of the chess piece realized as a Dungeons & Dragons creature. And then we also tried to line them up by D&D challenge rating. In other words, how high of a level party would you need to fight this? Because we wanted to make sure that they were about equal when they fought, so they'd look kind of cool. And I think we broke the rule once for cool factor. But yeah, so we have all these cool things in. But we're also doing a couple of other things. So we build a custom VR room that comes exclusive with every kind of premium game. Excuse me. So like the D&D is a premium game that we're selling in VR. So we're doing the Yawning Portal, which is one of the iconic Dungeons & Dragons inns. And this is actually, in D&D lore, there was a tunnel into the Underdark where the Dark Elves and the Mind Flayers and everybody live, and they built a tavern on top of it. So you actually, you're in kind of the private adventurer's room looking out over the, medieval tavern. Occasionally in lore, monsters kind of come up out of the portal from beneath. But that's, we got to actually build an iconic D&D location, and it looks really pretty friggin' awesome. So we're in the middle of that, and just as we put these together, we're kind of looking for fun extras that would make it part of the D&D lore. So we've gone over to WotC and said, hey, you guys have a whole bunch of great art. Can you give us some of that we can let our players hang up on the walls for pictures as well? So, when you get the game, you're not just going to get the game and the animated sets that come with it and the VR room that's exclusive to that. You'll also get some of the D&D art to hang up on the, the virtual reality walls. And You know, we have some really cool composers that are going to compose some custom music that's going to go along with the inn. So we're really trying to make this like a full experience of you get this and you get all of this. Because we want to make sure when you get something from us, you're like, that was badass. I want whatever they do next. WotC's a great company, and you know, I say that, you know, unabashedly. I've been playing D&D games forever. I used to play a whole bunch of Magic the Gathering, you know, Betrayal in the House of the Hill, and they have Axis and Allies and Diplomacy. I mean, they have a whole bunch of cool games that I grew up playing and, you know, play now. And so, you know, as we started talking to them and they realized that we were really coming from a place of loving what they do, you know, they already liked us, but they liked us partially because we love what they do and they love what they do. So, you know, as we were talking, like, you know, even the Yawning Portal, the Inn, they were redesigning it for 5th edition D&D, and they just came out with a new book, Tales from the Yawning Portal. And, you know, as we were chatting, we're like, hey, we need floor plans. And they're like, well, we've been planning to do that later, but we'll whip them up for you now because we want you to be building what it's going to look like. So, you know, they gave us the floor plans, and I looked, I'm like, okay, as we're building in VR, can we adjust a little bit of this because it's going to look better? So we actually got to like influence some of the official lore passing back so that it will actually look better when we really draw it in VR. So, you know, we've gotten to go back and forth with them a little bit on that. But yeah, they love making their stuff cool. And we're doing our best job to make their stuff cool and, you know, to make sure that it's an authentic D&D experience. Because, you know, I said, I've been playing forever, and I want to make sure whether you've been playing forever or just a little bit or it's your first time in, that you look at it and you go, okay, this is, you know, this is what I want to be playing. This is awesome.